Hi friends, I am Amy, your neighborhood book girl, and I am here to tell you about another book that I read recently. I promised you I'd tell you all about 100 things to know about architecture, and so here I am. That's what we are going to discuss today. This is written by Louise O'Brien, and then the illustrators, plural, are Dahlia Adillion and Leanne Daphne. And it's the cover and the binding and such, it reminds me a lot of the Usborne books, if you're familiar with those. It's very sturdy. So that being said, it's very sturdy, and it will sit nicely on a shelf, and good for little hands to handle. So which is good because it's written for elementary kids. It's published by Happy Yak, which I've not heard of them before, but they say they also have a book, 100 Things to Know About Art and 100 Things to Know About Inventions. So, architecture. This book was given to us, and I read it cover to cover because I wanted to know what's in here. And does it have anything that, like, were hugely against or anything. And I didn't find any major red flags. There are a few artists, we'll call them, architects. There are a few architects who had different lifestyles. So you might want to go through it with that in mind as you're looking, but they don't express that in here. It's just that I know that, or I did a little research about them beyond that. There is a handy index in the back, so you can look for specific people and find specific pages and read what they have. And then they have a list of all of the buildings and architects that are featured in the book. It's very fine print, so if your eyes are going, you might need a magnifying glass for that one. I really love that there's a glossary in the back. I feel like using a glossary, using a dictionary, these are skills that are falling by the wayside. And I hear teachers even all the time saying, well, kids don't really need to know how to alphabetize anymore. Kids aren't learning how to alphabetize. Yeah, you need to know how to alphabetize. Kids need to understand this, and that there's a structure and an order, because it's used in glossaries, it's used in indexes, it's used all over. And so it's important for kids to have that skill. The topics there were a lot of buildings in here covering all over the globe. Off-grid, extreme, and Antarctica. I did not know that there are people that there are stations that are in Antarctica. We're doing constant research and such. And it talks about the height of the buildings. There's a lot of really unique structures in here. Some that are designed to look like nature, and some that are designed to replicate different things. There's also a fair amount of different religious structures, like Angkor Wat. There are different, but the Russian domes, the Russian basilicas are in here. Domes are in here, just in general domes. This was really cool. The Beijing National Stadium, and it told about the Beijing Olympics and why that was built and everything. There's a building built like a trapezoid. And so if you have a kid who loves architecture, who loves Legos, loves their K'NEX, and loves building things, they would probably get a lot out of this book. If you're doing a homeschool lesson on architecture, on structures and buildings and things, this is a good book to borrow from the library for reference. As far as personal shelf, putting it in your home library, unless you have a kid who's super passionate about building and architecture, I don't see a real need for it. It's very specific. But if you do have that kid who loves Legos, who is always building things and always taking things apart, they might really get involved in this. They might also learn about a person or a place that they want to deep dive and do some more research on and everything. And so I think this book could be really good and handy for that. So that is 100 Things to Know About Architecture. I am glad that I read it. I would not recommend just assigning it to your kid to read cover to cover. I don't expect most kids would want to read it cover to cover, but it's a good little neat little reference book to have. I will drop the links to Amazon and Thrift Books in the description down below. As always, if you like learning about books and enjoy what you see here, please like and subscribe and share with your friends. Book friends are the best friends, and I'm so thankful that you're joining me on this journey to read through my library and to explore the wonderful books that we have. Until I see you next time, happy reading!